Now, seriously, the lawyers have now got to go and seriously consider all the points, all the arguments where you have common ground, where you have issues in dispute. Let's start with the common ground. We accept that Nigeria is our country. That should be common ground. 2, that we are all Nigerians. That too should be common ground. If these two are accepted, then the greatest enemy we have is ethnicity. Ethnicity, somebody said, and religion. I will not add that yet. Let's deal with one problem, ethnicity. What makes ethnicity the enemy? It's not ethnicity itself, but the psyche of ethnicity, the mental element which emphasizes ethnicity rather than the unity of the country. Where do we derive this from? Any of you who has been a student of history will know it came from the British colonials. Their theory of divide and rule. Divide et impere, divide and rule. They had to do it. Have we got to continue it? If the answer is no, as it should be, what do we put in place? What do we do? The first battleground is our thinking, our mental attitude. We are still colonial in our thinking. We have not been liberated at all. Although you say you have independence on a platter of gold, nobody ever has independence on a platter of gold. You fight for it. Maybe we had it in a platter of gold, that's why we're having the headaches now. Our thinking. I remember I mentioned Martin Luther King during one of the, he was a brilliant orator, brilliant. America has not produced more than one Martin Luther King. Stood before a crowd of 50,000. He was dumb, tongue-tied, and he said, I have not purged the slave out of me. We have to purge the colonial out of us, each and every one of us. They introduced tribe. Tribe is not a Nigerian expression. They brought it in, tribe. We bought it from them. Yes, I'm talking about the colonial ideas, which made it possible for them to govern. I'm happy, one or two is from grazing. Anybody else from grazing here? You are grazing, I suppose. Domus. When we were students, they asked us, where do you come from? We say Nigeria. Then they ask another question, which region? We got offended, really offended. We thought that we are from Nigeria is enough. So consider the ill effect of the Richard's Constitution, the mortal wound that Constitution dealt on Nigerian unity. That was the first mortal wound on Nigerian unity, the Richard's Constitution. When we came back as young lawyers, I remember the mayor of Enugu was an Hausa man, Hausa Fulani. We accepted him. No one can accept anybody, not from his state, as mayor today. Why? Why? Then we accepted him. Enugu, mayor. Now, in Port Harcourt, the mayor was from Benin. John something. Omolu, he was from Benin. We accepted him. Why can't we do the same now? Find answers to that. Now, no Nigerian will say, as a Nigerian, I am marginalized. No. As an Igbo man, I am marginalized. As a Yoruba man, I am marginalized. As somebody from Middle Belt, I am marginalized. But don't say, as a Nigerian. Therefore, what you will try to discover, ways and means of converting all of us into Nigerians. Play down on this ethnic. Now, if you go to other nationalities, how they created themselves into one. I think I presented a paper on this once. Try and rake it up. I dealt with Germany. Before Bismarck came, there was nothing called Germany. A group of, call it chiefdoms or kingdoms. It was one man, Bismarck, Otto von Bismarck, who manufactured Germany. The word used is manufacture. Can't we have a Nigerian Bismarck to manufacture Nigeria? Please, can't we? A Nigerian Bismarck to manufacture Nigeria. Now, Italy was not a united country. People made it. Cavour, Mazzini, Garibaldi. Can't we have this in Nigeria? In other words, to say that Nigeria is a geographical expression is a statement of fact. But the myth of that geographical expression can be translated, transmuted into national unity. Well, what about the present example of South Africa? We speak 7 tongues, yet we fly one flag. What about America? There is no nation on earth not represented there. I told you one day I was invited to deliver a lecture in the University of Arizona. And the name sounded Italian. So I spoke to the lady in Italian. She laughed. She said, I know what you are aiming at. I am not an Italian. I am an American. My parents came from Italy, yes. But I am an American. All right. If we can, now, from here, make up our mind that we fight to convert ourselves into Nigerians, not into Igbo people, Yoruba people, Hausa people, Middle Belters, Southeasterners, Southwesterners. All these are no use. No use. You don't know the potentiality this country has. Others are jealous. and will not like to see Nigeria united. If you don't know that, know it now. And they will use all these other people to prevent that unity. We had a seminar in Gambia. In fact, I should have been in Gambia now, but I thought it was irresponsible to leave this and go there. They're discussing the same thing we're discussing here, human rights, and they invited me. I told them I won't come. We're busy. You can't leave your home fire burning and go frolicking outside. So please, all the lawyers, all the politicians, we have evidence galore that the elite are those who led this country astray. The elite. The elite. Now they want political power. They say things which they shouldn't say. The ordinary people listen to them as their leaders. Take them 100%. They don't mean it, but the ordinary people mean it. And when the trouble starts, who suffers? The same ordinary people. Not the elite. They will run away first. They will know they run away. The ordinary man will suffer. So please, try and see how you can draft a message to reach our elite. To use political power for what it's meant for. I'm glad our learned colleague, Haruna, mentioned the objectives and the directive principles of state policy. But he failed to tell us why they are not actionable. Why? Why? They should be actionable. If not by direct legislation, but then the courts will come in. In India, the courts took over and allowed any group fighting for the human rights of oppressed groups to file an action. And local standard was cast away. Why should we follow all the archaic rules? Now you talk about democracy. You define it as they defined it after the American Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, Gettysburg. We glibly say government of the people, by the people. The most important and the most abused for the people. Can we say that any government we had from 1960 is for the people? Answer is no. No. It's for the elite. It's for the elite. It has never been for the people. For the elite, I said, not you. I said not all elites. Therefore, when they were arguing with this minimum wage, is this 7 naira and 7,000, is it? 7,500. I was sitting down with a friend of mine, a European. We were eating in one of the hotels, and what we ate each was more than 10,000. One meal. And then 7,000 for a family of father, mother, maybe 4 children. For 1 month. And you say it's, you're giving them living wage. Living wage. If this family is unfortunate to live in Lagos, one room, not one house, one room, is about 5,000 a month, 5,000. So what is left? 2. Now, we calculated it once and it came to 150 naira a day. A family of 5, 100 naira a day. Family of 5, 1 packet of biscuits is 150. So they will buy 1 packet of biscuits and share. No school fees, no hospital bill, no transport, no food, nothing. Is that right? Now, why I say we have not freed our mind from colonial, I was an ADO in Lagos. Then we used to have allowances, basic allowance. They gave me a car. They were paying me £120 a month. I was paying back £100 a month. So I was gaining £20 for having been dashed a car. I queried it. You know what I was told? We're not interested in your views. Your duty is to find the facts. Our duty is to take the decisions. I will not bound by your views. I see you nodding. That is the correct, isn't it? Colonial service. After that, we have sleeping in the guest house allowance, inconvenience allowance, wardrobe allowance, winter warm clothing allowance, about 20 allowances. All right. We lived in what they call European quarters. We got our independence. We are still living in GRA. What does that mean? Reserved for whom? Therefore, when we took over, our men thought they were still Oyibo, but they are black Oyibo. They still thought they were colonialists. They didn't know they were Nigerians. How do we make them feel and believe they are Nigerians? Let me be addressed on that. Otherwise, some of the allowances to members of parliament, to this or that, more than what will support an institution living in one country, same market. So probe into all these, probe into them, so that if they know that the government is for the people, there will be a drastic review across the whole board. A drastic review. I asked you people to give me a write-up. I haven't seen any. Structural injustice wherever it exists. Our headache is not men. No, it's a structure. The structure is basically unjust. That structure in the economic field, if it's unjust, creates too much money, too little money. Extreme wealth, extreme poverty. I remember when I was young, in Standard 4 or 5, we memorized something from what it means to be poor. Nobody in his senses will go on armed robbery. He's driven to it. So address the issue of unemployment. Father mentioned it. If it's addressed, address the issue of multiplication of universities. You have, every state has at least one university. Nobody wants to know where will they be employed after training. And nothing is as dangerous as educated unemployed. So these are the issues. If we want to build a better Nigeria, stop quarreling among yourselves. What happened in the Civil War? It has happened, it has happened. Let's learn lessons from them that they may not happen again. Let's then address ourselves to the issue, where do we go from here? To conclude, we had a seminar when this thing called tribalism was becoming the talk on everybody's lips in the University of Nigeria. We invited a professor in the University of Lagos, an American. And the question there was, is tribalism good or bad? He said, it depends. He said, I'm an American. If anything happens to me anywhere in the world, America will come out as though I'm the only American alive. They use every resource to protect me. In other words, if your flag is wide enough to cover everybody, powerful enough To protect everybody, you don't need to go back to your tribe. You don't. You don't need at all. The national umbrella protects you. If it doesn't, somebody said it this morning, nature avoids a vacuum. You said it? Yes. Because nature avoids a vacuum, I go back to where I am recognized, my tribe. And I feed them with all the propaganda. You are being persecuted. Every benefit goes to the other tribe, rightly or wrongly. Finally, even if one tribe or one, if you still want to use the word tribe, is given more advantages, there is something called affirmative action. For a country to develop, sail on an equal keel, you make sure that those who are underdeveloped come up. You give them more advantages to catch up. If they don't catch up, that's trouble. So it's in everybody's interest that they should catch up. That's what we call affirmative action, reverse discrimination. America tried it with the blacks. The blacks were enslaved by law. They were emancipated by law. They are attaining equality through law. Let's do that here. So when you read the 151 exhibits, don't bother about the quarrels that A was killed in Jaba River, this one was killed. That is rubbish. It doesn't matter. Concentrate on why did we have to kill ourselves? What we do not to kill ourselves again? As I said once, so that from our bitter past, we present to Nigeria a better future. That will be the focus of this address. Don't go on dwelling on irrelevant things. There's no group that doesn't complain of marginalization. No, no group. No group. So please, help us. How do I give you 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 3 weeks. Four weeks be all right. 4 weeks. And we rely on you because as far as I'm concerned, what we conclude today is the most important part of our assignment. That A was in prison, that he was tortured, these are all right. But if we give them compensation and they cannot enjoy it because there's no Nigeria in which to enjoy the compensation, it's no use. This is the foundation of everything we've been doing since we were established. So please give it the thought, the serious consideration, not happen on tribalities, but essential things that make us one. 4 weeks?
My Lord, speaking for us on this side, I think 4 weeks is ample enough.
All right.
But there must be an order that the transcripts should be given to us. We are having problems. We have got the transcript of the proceedings in Enugu and that of July.
But July are not yet available?
They are not yet available. The ones for September and...
all right. We'll make a note of that. Who is in charge? Can you stand up? Give him a microphone. The lawyers can't do much unless the transcripts are made available. So please, please, can we say in the next week or two they can come to the office and collect the transcripts? Next week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In fact, my Lord, in our own case, we have not been given any transcript, even though we have applied for it since June. We have not been given one piece of paper containing any transcript.
Oh yes, I understand. There was a time they had no paper. There was a time they had no light.
As my Lord, please.
Well, that's Nigeria. So,
my Lord, if it will take 2 weeks, I'm sorry to speak again. If it will take 2 weeks for us to get, all of us here, to get the transcript, then we have 2 weeks.
We'll start counting time from 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Or anybody who can produce his own within 4 weeks. Or if you can, within 6 weeks.
Very well.
My Lord, before the commission rises,
I don't know. SSS came here and they had their own, I don't know how they have their own transcript. When they came, they had their own transcript. So a good firm like Arewa or Haneze should have made arrangement at least to have the films. That's really what I go by, the films, not the transcript. You hear what people say, and you make notes on the relevant portions you want to.
Well, sorry, before this matter is adjourned, we want to remind, before it's adjourned for submission of addresses, we want to remind the Commission of a scheduled visit to the local Cinco in River State, which have been overtaken by event. My Lord, we are desirous.
Local Cinco?
Yes, my Lord.
We haven't forgotten it.
So we want.
We'll let you know when we are coming.
Okay.
To do it now.
Because all we wanted was to be sure we have a.
We can, but you have already mentioned it in. If you meet us in chambers, we'll give you an idea of when we will come. We've already discussed it.
Asmala, please.
Oh, yes. He's not a soldier there, so he can stay there for long. When his son becomes a lawyer, you are discharged. 2 of you were discussing military and legal.